Financial stability and prosperity is something that everyone dreams of, but not everyone achieves it. While some people are able to accumulate wealth, others remain in poverty. It's important to understand that there are certain mistakes that people make that keep them poor. 1. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is taking on bad debt. Bad debt is debt that is used to buy things that don't appreciate in value or generate income. For example, credit card debt, car loans, and personal loans are all forms of bad debt. The problem with bad debt is that it accumulates interest, which makes it hard to pay off. This can keep people in a cycle of debt and poverty. We can look into the example of John, who loved to buy things on credit. He always had the latest gadgets, the newest clothes, and the fanciest car. One day, John decided to buy a brand new car on credit, even though he didn't really need it. He ended up spending way more than he could afford, and before he knew it, he was drowning in debt. To make matters worse, the car he had bought lost almost half its value within a year. John was stuck with a loan that he couldn't pay off, and a car that was worth far less than what he owed on it. As a result, John's credit score took a hit, and he struggled to get approved for loans or credit cards in the future. He learned a valuable lesson about the dangers of living beyond his means and the importance of financial responsibility. One way to avoid bad debt is to only take on good debt, such as a mortgage or student loans. Good debt is used to purchase assets that appreciate in value or generate income. Another solution is to pay off any existing bad debt as quickly as possible. This may require cutting back on unnecessary expenses and increasing income through a side hustle or a better paying job. 2. Another mistake that people make is not paying themselves first. This means that they don't prioritize saving money and investing for the future. Instead, they pay their bills and expenses first and then save whatever is left over. The problem with this approach is that there is often very little left over at the end of the month, making it hard to save and invest. It was Carla's mistake, a young professional who had just landed her dream job at a tech startup. Excited to finally have a steady income, she started splurging on things she had always wanted but couldn't afford before. She would dine at fancy restaurants, buy designer clothes, and go on lavish vacations. However, Carla made a big mistake by not paying herself first. She neglected to set aside a portion of her income for savings, investments, and other long-term financial goals. She thought she could always save later, but she never did. Years went by, and Carla found herself living paycheck to paycheck. She was still making a good salary, but her debts had piled up, and she had no savings to fall back on. Self-pay first is the key. This means setting aside a portion of your income for savings and investments before paying your bills and expenses. One way to do this is to set up automatic transfers from your paycheck to a savings account or investment account. This way, you won't even see the money in your checking account, making it less tempting to spend. 3. A third mistake that people make is not calculating their income and making a budget. Without a budget, it's hard to know where your money is going and how much you can afford to spend on different expenses. This can lead to overspending and debt. It was Lena's mistake. Lena was always someone who enjoyed living in the moment. She loved to travel, dine out with friends, and splurge on the latest fashion trends. But she never bothered to make a budget or keep track of her expenses. As time went on, Lena's carefree lifestyle caught up with her. She found herself drowning in credit card debt and struggling to make ends meet. Her credit score plummeted, making it impossible to get approved for loans or mortgages. Lena realized that her financial mistake of not making a budget had cost her dearly. From that day forward, she made a commitment to track her spending and stick to a budget, determined to never let her finances spiral out of control again. The way to solve this problem is to calculate your income and expenses and establish a budget. This can be done using a simple spreadsheet or budgeting app. Start by listing all of your sources of income and then subtracting all of your fixed expenses, such as rent, utilities, and car payments. Then, allocate a portion of your remaining income to variable expenses, such as groceries, entertainment, and travel. 4. A fourth mistake that people make is not investing in financial education. Financial literacy is crucial for making informed decisions about money, but many people never learn the basics of personal finance. This can lead to poor financial choices and missed opportunities for wealth building. Do not make the same mistake as Leo, who always dreamed of being a successful entrepreneur, to quit his job and set up a business of selling art paintings. However, he lacked any financial education and didn't understand how to manage his business finances properly. He overspent on supplies, didn't keep track of expenses, and failed to price his products appropriately. As a result, Leo quickly found himself drowning in debt and struggling to keep his business afloat. He tried to seek advice from financial experts, but it was too little too late. Eventually, he had to close down his business and return to his old job, regretting that he didn't take the time to learn about financial management before starting her entrepreneurial venture. We need to invest in financial education. This can be done by reading books, attending seminars, or taking online courses. Some good topics to focus on include budgeting, investing, and retirement planning. The more you learn about personal finance, the better equipped you will be to make smart financial decisions. 5. Finally, a mistake that people make is paying too much in taxes. While it's important to pay your fair share of taxes, there are often opportunities to reduce your tax burden through deductions and credits. People who don't take advantage of these opportunities end up paying more in taxes than necessary. This was John's mistake. He was a successful businessman, but he made the mistake of not taking advantage of tax-saving opportunities. He never bothered to consult a tax professional or read up on tax laws. Over the years, he could have claimed deductions for charitable donations, investments, and even his home office, but he missed out on those opportunities. As a result, John paid more taxes than he needed to, and his business suffered. He could have reinvested that money into his company, but instead, it went to the government. His competitors, who were savvy about tax laws, had more funds available to grow their businesses. John realized his mistake too late, and he had to close his business. He learned the hard way that being successful in business also means being knowledgeable about taxes. Learning about tax deductions and credits and taking advantage of them will be a great opportunity to improve your finances. This may require working with a tax professional or using tax software to ensure that you are taking advantage of all available deductions and credits. Some common deductions and credits include charitable donations, home office expenses, and education expenses. By reducing your tax burden, you can keep more of your hard-earned money and use it to build wealth. Many individuals remain financially poor due to several mistakes they make, whereas the wealthy avoid such blunders. However, by sidestepping these errors and implementing these 5 solutions, anyone can enhance their financial status and attain greater stability and prosperity. Although becoming financially successful requires effort and discipline, the right mindset and habits can help anyone achieve their goals.